Oh, they called Bring It In. It's True Hoops, little from quarantine Zoom show. And David, we already had a restart on Bring It In, and now we have the restart start.
Yeah, the restart start.
Restart start?
Yeah, for the new season.
I actually was surprised at how delighted I was to watch pretty disorganized NBA basketball this weekend.
I was surprised that I missed the bubble games because the atmosphere in those games where there was a court almost designed for those games, and now they're back in their arena, which looked like the NHL games and the football games where no one's in the stands at all. It goes to show how well the NBA handled the Disney games. They were delightful to watch. They were delightful on the eye to take in. And of course, the games mattered, especially in the last few months. These games don't matter. So the intensity wasn't there and the aesthetic feel wasn't there. But they're back to playing, and it's good to see. Yeah, for me, especially.
A little kind of rolling question will be, as there will be some positive tests, etc. Like they've gone to a lot of trouble to not be in a bubble. But I talked on the phone this weekend with people in the NBA who were like, forbidden by rules from leaving their room or apartment or condo or whatever, right? And they're going to go from city to city to be in those empty arenas. Like, what's that for again? You know what I mean? like, why are we not just at UCLA or something, wherever the hell they would do it if it weren't? Actually, I heard an interesting little rumor, by the way.
What?
One of the reasons it was at Disney, this is total rumor mongering, it will eat the show, is because of the Florida state tax rules. Like, much easier for players to agree to a long session in that state.
Yeah, I don't think the average person realize. I'm certain that the average fan doesn't realize that all these players have accountants that have to keep track of everywhere you've been. There's a different, wherever you made your money, there's a different tax to that. So yeah, it makes sense.
And a lot more players are full-time residents of Florida than play for Florida teams.
Oh, for sure. That you have that too. Yeah, there's no question. I had players buy homes here for that reason.
Yeah. Okay.
And you have to account for where you are.
Right. You got to be there.
Literally. Yeah.
So we have a document with just all sorts of things that you've noticed and I've noticed from these first few games. Should we start rolling through it?
Sure.
Okay. Well, for our friend Randy Shane, who isn't here, we got to talk about the Knicks. Obi Toppin, how'd he look?
Yes, I'm glad. I forgot that we started with him. So Obi, looked fine in the first game. He played better the first game. He couldn't make the shots the second game. I think it was 1 of 6 from 3 in the second game. And I want to tell a story that I think will make Randy feel good. All right, this is all for you, Randy. Years ago, I wrote about this guy, Lou Tice, who started the Pacific Institute, is this great thinker. And he tells this great story on one of his cassette tapes back then. That's what we listened to learn. About almost like a homeless shelter for kids, and they had Thanksgiving, and the kids are helping set the table and bring the food, and this guy running it is just he's overwhelmed feeding a lot of kids, and he's just got all the food from the kitchen counter ready to go to their big table, and he said and it's loud. And all of a sudden he hears a hush, and he realizes that a girl with cerebral palsy had picked up the turkey and nobody moved. And he said, this guy told Lou Tice, who was like a mentor to the guy, he said, I realized right then, I'm so proud that she grabbed the turkey. Mm-hmm. What confidence, but that's dinner for all of us. And he kind of used his hands like, hey, we're going to let this young lady do it. And when she got, she slowly got on the table, everyone erupted. And that's what I thought of when I saw Obi Toppin keep launching threes. Like the Knicks, bless your heart, Tom Thibodeau, for letting him shoot them. Like, I tell you what, I guarantee you he'll never make them if he doesn't shoot them. Yeah. He is a good shooter. Yeah. He's very athletic. Do I wish he would roll more? For sure. He sees himself as, Memo or Kerr, right? Or just some pick and pop guy. Yet he's one of the best athletes in the game for his position. I'd like to see more of a mixture, but yeah, I mean, he's not going to create off the dribble as a 3-man. Catch and shoot threes, rim run hard, and I think you've got something there. I really do. So I'm glad that he felt good enough to keep shooting and missing. That's a sign of a good culture, to be honest with you. And so, it's a mixed bag right now. These guys have just gotten back in it. But yeah, I like him. He didn't play great the second game. He'll play better the first game.
So that thing, let's remember that turkey analogy. I think we're going to come back to it later. Okay, let's move along though. LaMelo Ball was burning up the internet, David. He was burning up the internet with a no-look pass. Judy, I think I linked it there if you want to show it while David says why he doesn't think LaMelo Ball is that good.
Yeah, well, it's more than that.
No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I thought that on the particular play that Judy's trying to find, he does a no-look pass to get an and one, and everyone went crazy about it, as you're saying. I did not like it for this reason. He added risk to a no-look behind-the-back pass that didn't need to be any risk at all. It was an easy fast break bucket. I am not convinced at all that the no-look part of it allowed for the and one, although it is possible that the defender was frozen more, or even the behind-the-back part. I would have just been happy with occupy the defender, little left hand, because it was on the left side of his body, little left-hand pass for the bucket. As we go through these names, Henry, you're going to hear me say a lot of he knows how to play. He looks solid. That's all you need. Now, let's talk about the positives with LaMelo. 10 rebounds. The dude rebounded like a fiend. Like he was getting paid for every rebound. I love that. Who wouldn't love that? And they weren't all uncontested. In a couple in traffic where he got it. That's great. If your magic passing point guard can be a rebounder, amazing for your offense. Okay. 0 of 5 from 3. His 2 field goal attempts didn't hit the rim either time. Not good. Now, one of them, he blatantly got fouled. He did a stop-and-go move on Siakam. Siakam blatantly pushed him. No, on his hip. Slide play by Siakam. Should have been a foul. That's why he didn't hit anything but the backboard. The next one, he just blew. It was a very tough shot, and he took a weird floater, and he hit nothing but the backboard, no rim, and no net. And then his 5 threes were not even close. I mean, one might have been okay. 4 assists, 4 turnovers. I still felt like I was watching a guy who was trying to put on a show instead of trying to win games. There is zero reason to panic if you're Charlotte. Let me really repeat that. There is zero reason to panic. He's got talent. I've never seen him care about winning more than style. That doesn't mean he won't grow up, right? I told you yesterday on the phone, there's a white chocolate element, Jason Williams. But if you follow Jason, remember, I had Jason Williams. He played for my alma mater. I had guys that I trained in high school were teammates. So I watched all of Jason's games in Florida. And then he came to my gym one summer and I saw the magician that he was. And then I also saw him become just a regular player. And that's what LaMelo needs to understand is you be like Rafer Alston and Jason Williams near the end of their careers when they're just trying to get W's. Then your talent can really shine. If you're playing for style, I think you're in trouble. So he was going up against Malachi Flynn.
Yeah. Wait, before you move on.
Yeah.
You wrote a big story about him, and the big gap in his game was defensive intensity. And he was wiping the dust off the bottom of his shoes while in the middle of playing defense. How did that go?
I didn't see any of that. I thought he has no idea how to deal with screens at all. Yeah. You don't want to get stuck on a screen. He gets stuck on them. That he can learn from that. I thought his interest was good. He's not a good defender, and he can't beat anyone off the dribble and that I've seen in the half court. In fact, one of the big problems I have seen with LaMelo is he loves to throw the long one-handed pass, and it's very cool to watch, like a quarterback in football. He does a lot of one-handed stuff. But when you only have one hand on the ball, unless you're Dr. J and can yo-yo it, which almost no one does, you have committed early and people can jump the gap. So every defensive team is going to see this. And you're going to start seeing some, we call them pick sixes, where they're going to steal the ball and go get a dunk on the other end. It's easy to fix for him, but it's just one less thing that's stylistic, right? 2 hands on the ball allows, I'm all for one-handed passes, but not the long windup that he does. Those are the ones that get intercepted. He's got to adjust on those things. And I think he probably will because teams are going to get pissed off, right? Whereas on the other end, Malachi Flynn had 3 for 3. I think he made 3 threes. I don't know if he took more than that. 4 assists, no turnovers.
Raptors rookie.
Yeah, from San Diego State, who was like 30-something and 2 last year. He looks like one reason why I'm high in the Raptors. He looks like he's the next Fred VanVleet. he was drafted, but really knows how to play. Very, very solid guy. And I think he's going to end up helping them this year. He's a nice guy for LaMelo to watch. He just has to stop worrying about looking cool and find ways. It wasn't a very competitive game, and Charlotte was blowing him out and got beat pretty badly. It's okay. It's preseason, but we need LaMelo to start thinking about winning only and learning how to shoot and score and not being a highlight guy for SportsCenter.
It is weird how he's got so much skill and so much length and has such a hard time scoring 2-pointers.
Yeah, I 3-pointers too. Like, the great irony of him is he's this great passer who loves to take terrible shots.
Yeah.
Like, you'd rather the great passer like to really pass and not take bad shots.
Yeah.
But they think he's going to be some kind of scorer. I don't see it. He just can't beat you off the dribble. The other thing is people are over helping on him. He is tall. So if he's able to use a ball screen and get in the lane, he's drawing a second or third defender. They don't need to help. He hasn't proven the ability to score or draw a foul. So stay home on the this will be you remember when Mark Jackson first got in the league? You may not remember. You remember Mark Jackson, right?
Yeah.
The player.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
So after his rookie year, I was working 5-star camp that summer, and one of our speakers that week was NBA player named Rodney McRae, who had been a great player, maybe even a champion for Louisville. And so we were driving him from the airport, and I think we had lunch together. I don't remember if it was lunch or just in the car. But I remember asking, I didn't ask him. Someone asked about Mark Jackson. I just listened to his response. Because I think Rodney and Scooter McRae were also city kids like Mark Jackson was. And he said, he's got all the flash you'd want, but he better learn just how to play or he's not going to make it in this league. Well, he learned. Mark Jackson lasted a long time. In fact, he ended up being a great low post player, if you remember. The flash doesn't last long. You better learn.
I'm near New York City. You don't have to introduce Mark Jackson ever.
Okay, right. Okay. So I didn't really care about him at St. John's, but you have to learn how to win games. And so with LaMelo, we're waiting to see if he can learn how to. The flash can come. Like, look at it this way, Henry. Magic Johnson loved the no-look pass. So did I when I played. But I did it never. I mean, I didn't play in front of fans. I did it to occupy a defender and make a guy open that otherwise wouldn't be open. I thought Magic typically did too. He made a play to freeze the defender to get his team a bucket. When LaMelo does that, I'm all for it. When he makes a play, no look that doesn't, or behind the back that isn't required, that causes me problems because that's going to have some turnovers mixed into.
My thought watching, and I didn't watch the whole game, but watching a little bit was like, I would just get a tiny guy. I would get some little speedster to just annoy him. Ideally Pat Bev, right? And he's gonna feel like he needs to shoot over him, and that'll be great, right? Like you're gonna win if you get him thinking he should shoot over you.
And he's not gonna dribble by him at all because
exactly.
He can't dribble by slower guys.
Exactly.
Not now anyway. He can grow up in his game too. He can get faster and quicker, stronger. But yes, you can bait him into shooting a lot. He wants to shoot.
David, our work here is done. It happened once before. I didn't want to call it out, but Judy is making basketball comments in the chat.
Yeah. I try not to look at the chats because I'll get distracted, but I couldn't help but see about Pat Bev. Yeah, Judy loves Pat Bev.
He likes a little Pat Bev talk. All right.
There's a whole bunch of little guys that can guard LaMelo though right now.
Yeah, right. This is not a hard player to get. The trick would be to make LaMelo feel like it's his job to score over, right? That would be the trick.
That's right.
Anyway.
Exactly right.
Cole Anthony.
Yeah, look good. So if you remember, I posited on Friday a Rockets Magic trade. And Cole Anthony is one of the young, talented players the Magic can get. So he had 16 points, 4 assists, 1 turnover. Most importantly, remember, he was a guy that was coming out of high school as the #1 point guard in the class. And was a lottery pick for Orlando. Did not have a great season for North Carolina. Looked like a fucking pro. Under control. I was so impressed with him. Shot looked great. Not a surprise there. Son of an NBA player, Greg Anthony. Just wasn't in a rush. Looked big and strong. He is a strong guard. He's not his dad was a little skinny. He's not. He looked really good. And I don't know if he can be good enough this year to help the Orlando guys all keep their jobs. I have no idea if they're even on the hot seat, but they're not doing good. Last couple of years, they barely made the playoffs. I'm not sure there's a great future there. He's a keeper based on just one stupid preseason game, but I like what I saw. But I'm also in the back of my mind thinking, okay, if they want to go after Harden, they need him to look good, and he did.
Yeah. Wait, Randy's here now. This is so funny. So I'm gonna tell a quick little story. So Randy, we opened the show saying your name and wanting to talk about Obi Toppin for you, and now you're as you point out, you were late one damn time and you missed the Knicks talk, which was fairly positive. But this reminds me of during the lockout, I went to get coffee. It was 11 o'clock at night. A whole bunch of reporters on the sidewalk in front of a hotel on the Upper East Side. And I get everybody's money together, and it's a little bit scary to leave because the whole reason you're waiting, and you're there, you're ruining your life to get there at 11 a.m. and now it's 11 p.m. and you don't know when you're going home, just to see the 1 minute when they walk outside and say what's going on. That's the whole reason you're not with your family and exhausted and ruining your summer and doing this day after day is just for the 1 minute. It might be the day. So everyone's excited. They're gonna go get coffee. They all promise to call and text me should anything happen. And I go off, and it's 11 o'clock on the Upper East Side is not a great place to get coffee. It's not like the rest of Manhattan that's open all hours. And I'm gone for a while. It's a whole shenanigan. Nobody texts me, calls me, so I'm not worried. But I come back and I see Adam Silver and David Stern getting in a fucking cab. As I'm carrying everybody's coffee orders, just like, oh, this guy wants a grande and this and whatever. I got all this stuff. And I'm like, what is, and I'm like, whoa. And to their credit, Adam and David see me and they realize the whole thing, what's happened. And so they're like, oh, you weren't here? Okay, hold on. And they stand there and they're like, we're going to do it for you. Don't worry. And so I put down the coffee and I get my little tip recorder. And they're like, out of deference to the players and their union at this time, we have agreed not to say anything further. They just get the cab and go. That's great. So
you got juice. Randy, you got juice. So sorry, Randy.
You want to do 30 seconds of Obi Toppin for Randy?
So Randy, Obi, yeah, I'll be very quick about Obi. I like that he was allowed to shoot all the threes that he kept missing. I think that was encouraging. I think he should roll more to the rim, but by all means, I think he should shoot more threes too. So I was impressed that Thibodeau allowed his rook, who's super athletic, to just launch a bunch of threes like he was LaMelo Ball. It'd be nice to make some, but it looks good. Like, I think he's going to be. There's not a lot of guys that jump out of the gym and then make threes. Like Robert Horry could do that. But Robert Horry became a great shooter after he was a great athlete. None of y'all remember him as an athlete. I saw him in high school. I coached him in high school against the Russian Olympic team, basically the junior Olympic team. He was super athletic. And then at Alabama, he was super athletic. And then when he stopped being able to jump, he learned to shoot threes. Okay, so Toppin's got both right now.
Huh? Now you get in the cab. We got to get in the cab. Okay. Okay. Right. Devin Pasel.
Yeah, another one. I was really, really impressed with him. Like Cole Anthony, looked like a total pro. Sophomore out of Florida State. Just had 3 steals. Really, they tried to post him up one time, and it was almost, he was saying, are you fucking kidding me? You're posting me up? We fronted the post at Florida State. You're not posting me up. He's got really long arms and blew that up right away. We're watching a video of him blowing up, whether it was ball screen action. He's just this long dude that gets any shot he wants. There's a nice contest. They made a jumper, but it was a nice contest. He looks like he knows what he's doing. I liked him. His teammate, Pat Williams, who was at Chicago, had a very, very good first game at 12 points. Looked like he knew what he was doing. He's the youngest guy in the league. He's 19. The second game, he did not play as well. I've not seen tape, and I know he shot poorly, but he's going to be really good too. I thought they should have taken Denny Avdia, and the Bulls took Pat Williams at 4. I don't think they're stupid. Pat Williams can be a very good player. I think Avdia just has I think he has a lower risk and almost as high an upside. And so to me, it made some sense to take Avdia, but whatever. Pat Williams looked fine. Avdia looked good.
I saw Popovich made an interesting comment about Devin Pasel. Did you see what he said?
No, tell me.
He said a bunch of nice stuff, but this was amazing. This was how old is Devin Pasel?
19, 20. I think he's 20. He's young.
This is a 20-year-old first preseason game, and Popovich said, I thought he made wise decisions.
Yeah, he just really he knows how to play. This is going back to what I was saying. You can learn how to play. Of course, there's rookies that come in that become great players. They didn't know what they were doing. They got there. Devin just does. They just really, and I don't think it's just Florida State's coaching, which obviously I think is great. I also think Devin has a good pace about him. Cole Anthony showed it. We always say young players, right, play the game and pros read it, but they're like puppy dogs. The young players are like puppy dogs. They're just bouncing around everywhere, and pros, just like an old dog is looking at the puppy like, will you get off me for a minute here and let me eat my food in peace? That's how it is in these games with these rookies running around everywhere. The guys that just know what they're doing, it doesn't mean you're athletic. You just got to pick your spots. Devin picked his spots. Anthony picked his spots. Denny Abdia picked his spots. Denny Abdia went 6 of 6 from the field. And then most importantly, Wizards fans went 3 of 3 from 3. And he was a guy that if he could do this in Maccabi last year, he would have been maybe the second or third pick.
Yeah.
Okay. For sure. Because he already has played a ton of pro games and been good. He just knows. Yeah, Denny really knows how to play. Made a nice little floater. 3 of 3 from 3 is huge. Isn't in a rush.
He's a big dude.
Big, 6'9", 6'10", fast as hell.
Yeah,
really fast. The Wizards got something there. They're gonna he was my day after the draft rookie of the year pick. You have to try to guess who's going to play the most for that. But I think Heel's going to be right there all year because I think he's going to play a ton for them and possibly start the whole year. Yeah, it's possible.
That's the thing about the little pre-draft footage. All the players look big because they're playing against college players or Euro players, right? But
he's in the EuroLeague. Yeah.
Right. But then you spend I'm like, oh, he still looks big.
Like I said, 6'9", 6'10", really fast. Yeah. He dribbles it, he passes it, he shoots it, he rebounds, he defends, he does it all. And I love what he said after the game. He said, I put in so much time. Like he was a pro at 16, like Rubio, playing in the EuroLeague. He said, at my first game, I didn't score a point. I was in the EuroLeague. I was a young teenager. But I've been working. And his body looked great too. He used to be skinny. He's not skinny anymore. No, he, as we talk about, he's got a Serbian dad, and they are famous for their 8-hour training sessions. There's nothing soft but Denny Abdia. And he's going to be a really good player.
I'll tell you what's going to happen, and he's one of many examples, but American basketball player development will get shown up by this, right? Like P3 had some pre-draft training where they were showing third year French pro training for the league. And they're like, he's been doing these exercises since he was 15, 16. And now his core is a kind of strong that American players just aren't because they haven't been on an organized program like this, right? Because they've been doing this team in the summer and this team in the winter and 2 teams, whatever.
Not whatever. This is exactly right. This isn't, if you really want to get into a 2-minute discussion on this, I'm happy to do it.
Well, I don't think we have to fix it now. I'm just thinking it's there's real competition now. It used to be everybody trained the same crappy way, and it was hard to say who was good or bad at it. But now it's no. American rookies don't have Denny's preparation, and we're going to see that, right? That's
You're exactly right. I would argue going back further, it used to be that the Americans had the advantage because the guys in Europe weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
Okay. They were just playing. We were lifting and all of that. And now it's flipped where, with some exceptions, most of these young high school players, AAU players, are not getting great training going into college. They might get some better in college. I'm very happy I know what my son's doing. I'm very, very happy. They're doing high level stuff like Devin Pasel did and Pat Williams. A lot of colleges aren't doing it, but none of the AAU high school, when I say none, 1% and Denny was doing it when he was 16.
Yeah.
The physio, they call him physios, the trainer at Maccabi, is world renowned.
Yeah.
So that dude's been, and you're surrounded. This is just classic. Most high school players are showing up for practice typically or often with Chick-fil-A or Big Macs or whatever. Denny's been going to Maccabi's training with pros who have a backpack full of not Big Macs and Whoppers, foam rollers with spikes and golf balls that they use and lacrosse balls for their back. That's all he's known since he was 16.
He's just eating lacrosse balls, people. That's all he eats.
Right. It was, I speak it as a father of this, when my son, who never was doing the fast food part, But I always wanted him to bring the foam roller, but I'm not making him bring the foam roller. This summer, for the first time, I mean, I don't know what took him so fucking long. Is watched pros training with him for a long time. He started doing the foam rollers and the bands, and yeah, son, that's what you're supposed to be doing. And so the rookies will catch up to that, the ones that didn't already see it. But we've come a long way since the age of Kwame Brown, who didn't do any college and went to Washington and didn't know how to do anything, didn't know how to eat right, didn't know how to do his dry cleaning. These rookies will catch up faster, but yeah, Abdia's in a step ahead of them for sure.
And so Bilal in the chat saying that this is what he wants to try and develop with the club he works with. So Bilal's a doctor with a big heart who loves basketball, right? So the trick is you need a financial structure. Someone needs to pay Bilal and others like him to be really smart with 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And in America, we have to invent that whole system, right? Because now people who have money for 15 and 16-year-olds are breaking the rules, right? Like you're getting money from AAU or Nike or something, and you're all in the basketball underground, and we've all seen this story a bunch of times. But like it's not gonna work, right? Like you have to get your son Max to Florida State with a strong body, right? Like what's happening all those years before, right? Like
yeah, no, and of course
2 months of this and 2 months of that. It needs to be like, years.
Right. It helps, it's unfair. I had my son and the team he was with train with the trainers I use for my pros since he was in, ninth grade. Yeah. But my trainers need money. Right. And so we would always sponsor some of the other guys in the team, but the guys that didn't have it, or they had to work part-time during the off season. Yeah. They didn't have the advantage that people like my son have had. And for sure, it's something that our sport needs to do a much better job of, not just in America, around the world, but in America, you'll see there's some really skinny guys. Cole Anthony looks the way Cole Anthony does, in part because his dad is Greg Anthony. Right. Right.
And there's there's one other, and we'll get off this tangent here in a second. Yeah. There's one other little wrinkle, which is when you force all of this underground, right? When LeBron walked into Tim Grover's gym when he was 16, right? And worked out. He got super strong. But is there a Nike thing and what's going on there? And there's all these whispers and who knows? And I'm not saying anything about LeBron.
Oh, I know some things. I'll tell you what I know in a minute. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is when all of this, so if the people organizing this were like Barcelona, then they have every reason to want everything to be on the up and up. And for instance, not to dope. Right? Yeah. Like they have a reputation at stake. They have a brand, and it looks bad, and they have a testing protocol, etc. But when it's all just in some stuff that isn't supposed to be happening in some gym, unofficial. Jaw's talking about super private trainers. Like, why aren't they doping? Right? Like why? Like so now you could conceivably have some trainer with a 15-year-old who's like, hey, try a little of this, try a little of that, and that's dangerous, right? And so,
for sure.
Yeah. I feel like this is like there's a lot of reasons to bring it into the daylight, is what I'm saying. To bring basketball development of teenagers into professional basketball development, teenagers should be sanctioned, regulated, existent.
LeBron was lucky. He was the best sophomore in the country. Nike came in, from what I understand, is they outfitted his private school with a weight set or weight equipment that was way better than probably even some small colleges. And then they probably brought in the brain power behind it to how to utilize that stuff, right? And this is an athletic sport.
Right? It is. It sure is. Okay, I don't know for sure how to pronounce this next name, but I know how I like to pronounce it, which is Facundo Campazzo.
That's it. Yeah. He's from Argentina, though, not Italian.
No, but there are Italians galore in Argentina. Yeah. That's why that's an Italian name.
Yeah, it is for sure. Facundo Campazzo. Yeah. So he had 8 points and 3 assists. And I don't remember. I think Jamal Murray came up with a great nickname, and I'm an idiot for not writing down the nickname, but it's a pretty cool nickname. He runs around everywhere.
Tease us like that?
What's that? I just don't know what it is. I thought maybe Judy Legal could look it up.
Okay.
Jamal Murray tweeted something about it. He's the guy we featured. Exactly a year ago. Yeah. As we wrote about 6 or 7 guys that aren't in the NBA that should be. He's one of them. He's there now, 3-year deal. Brilliant passer, never been a great shooter, looks weird, but shot okay. The other Spider-Man, because he's everywhere. Yeah. He's all over the place. Spider-Man. Bill, I was right. And he's 28 years old, which gives me hope for the NBA that we.
I don't think you're gonna make it, David.
No, not hope for me. That hey, let's always be evaluating people. That man be everywhere. That's why they call him Spider-Man. I love that. So I think that he's a nice get for Denver. He's a nice get. I want to talk to Gerard later about what he thought of Michael Porter Jr. Did not shoot well. But Campazzo is going to be. He's just an exciting player. He's going to be fun to watch. I don't know how that was a great pass. I don't know how much he'll play, but I think he can play a good amount. The guy's used to playing in the best league in the world after the NBA. He won't be intimidated by the NBA talent for sure. And he's played in the international against Team USA. So no, he's nice. He's a nice player, and Denver's gonna be, and Jokic on that looked great physically. Looked good.
He made a layup that I did that like no, yes.
Yeah, he's got all these players have developed a long one-handed scoop. So he's right-handed, but he made that long left-handed scoop. That's something that I've been working with players on for a long time. He's got it. Yeah, it takes strong hands. He's got it. Okay,
so much more to talk about. Tyrese Halliburton. I thought he looked pretty good.
He did. He had 7 assists. I think 1 turnover. Scored the 11 points. Was a lot of them came late when the game was over.
Yeah.
But he looked. I didn't love him when I studied him for the draft. I liked him fine, but he looked good on a team like Sacramento that struggles to have anyone that looked really good. He looked good. So they want to play him, I think, and De'Aaron Fox together, and I think that can happen. Yeah.
Look what Devin just asked. Devin, you asked, what about Anthony Edwards? Next guy on the list. David, what about Anthony Edwards?
Did you ever see Saturday Night Live when they had what's her name? Rachel Dratch play Debbie Downer?
Oh yeah.
Wah, wah. It's really funny. Edwards being the first pick in the draft and Dwayne Wade, and he just looked like a fat guy shooting threes. I'm sorry to say that, but he just wanted to take jump shots and nothing ever close to the rim. I have no doubt he's a great athlete. I saw that at Georgia. It's the first game of preseason. None of us know really what's happening behind the scenes. I don't know if he had COVID at all. Did he have other injuries? He couldn't train. He looked heavy to me. Let me rephrase it. I saw Dwayne Wade as a rookie every game that first year in 2003. And I didn't see any Dwayne Wade last night on the Minnesota Timberwolves. So one game, but he didn't look good last night.
I had a game on the laptop, and then I had Twitter on the phone, because that's what you do now these days. And on the phone, there were some little Timberwolves highlights going by. And there was somebody, and that little screen, I wasn't really watching it. There was like a pretty big, strong-looking guard doing stuff. And I was like, oh, Anthony Edwards, blah. And then I was like, I guess he's having a good game. And then it was Malik Beasley.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's too bad.
I did on a tweet that Judy just played. I don't know whose tweet it was, but it was something about Edwards. I think that he wrote Edwards was hit and miss in his first game.
Yeah.
This is from Keith Smith. Yeah. Anthony Edwards was hit and miss in his debut. I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. I don't know what that means. What do you mean hit and miss? That is the entire game. That is a ballet performance is all hit, right? Every musician typically is all hit. We don't want to see misses. This is a game of nothing but hits and misses. That's it. If you don't want to see hits and misses, watch the first few minutes of, was it Pleasantville, where they all make every shot every time, right? What fun is that? But no, this is the game of hits and misses. No, it was mostly misses, sir. It was mostly misses, and it probably always will be, because almost no one at guard shoots better than 50% from the field. So it's always going to be mostly misses. What I'd like to see is the guy trying to dunk on someone's teeth. That's what I'm looking for. I didn't see any of that.
Got a B. I think he meant I don't think he meant like. I think he meant it wasn't all good or all bad.
Yeah, never. I just thought the game is about mistakes. Get used to it. I'd like to see him being held accountable to how hard are you playing? How, are you getting parallel for loose balls? Are you running? I was watching clips of Drew Holiday this morning. How Drew can just bully ball you. That is not what I see from Anthony. His first game, no one's panicking at all. But this is a history of him. It's just kind of being out there. And there's a risk to taking him at number one, which we thought was a mistake. I'm evaluating on that. And my buddy, I mean, I know a lot of the guys there, but Jim Peterson is their great color commentator there. He deserves to have a number one pick, not be any more like Karl Anthony Towns than Edwards already is, which is pick your spots on offense and instead let's get some grindy stuff done, Yeah,
it's that team. Okay, let's not get sidetracked on the Timberwolves. It can ruin our whole show.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him. I want him to win.
I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
Some sophomores. Rui Hachimura.
Yeah, I've been down on him. I thought he was bad in the bubble. I've not seen anything. Now he went 3 or 4 from 3. I'm not sure that's always gonna. I'm quite sure that's not ever gonna happen consistently, 75%. But he fucking bully balled Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So for a while before he started making threes, I thought maybe Hachimura should be like a 5 because he's just big and strong and posting guys, and you're switching on him. He's murdering guards, and then he started nailing threes. Like, ooh. Okay. I still think he's limited. I don't think he's ever going to have a great dribble drive game. I could be wrong. The truth is the magic in these great players, Henry, is your mid-range shot. As stupid as that might sound, and maybe as ironic as that might sound, it's a real thing because every possession has by definition an end to it, an automatic end with the clock. And so you can't just get any shot you want. You got to get any shot you want within 24 seconds, which means you got to take shots sometimes you don't want. Well, how are you making those? Because the Kevin Durant's, the James Hardens, and those guys, they make it where they get fouled more than anyone else. And if you can't do that, well, then you just have to drop a level, which is fine. If Hachimura can make mid-range jumpers and not off the dribble, that means someone's got to do it for him, fine. He can do it himself. That's another level. I don't think he'll get there. But if he can bully guards and make threes, bully Kevin Durant. I'm sorry, not just guard, but Kevin Durant. Hello. Like, yeah, they got something there. And him and Abdia together, if Abdia can shoot well, that's great.
David's emotions are just up, and it's a big emotional day. Rui Hachimura bullying KD has like lifted your spirits noticeably.
I was like, hey, what is that? I think Durant was thinking like, what the fuck are you doing, man? It's a preseason game. We had an agreement. I don't guard you. You don't guard me. What is going on?
So here's this. I'm about to mention a second-year player. The TV commentators, we think, say his name incorrectly, and we wonder if maybe we can say it correctly.
Yeah.
Sekou Doumbouya.
I
think that's what the Detroit Free Press says is correct.
So 19-year-old still, second-year player. He was my MVP of the preseason weekend.
Okay.
Yes. 23-5, 2 blocks and a steal, and looked like he was a Chris Middleton clone with a little more power, and he's 19. Like, come on. Like, that is not something I expected from Doumbouya. Exciting to see if Detroit's going to ever come out of their shell in a sense and be a decent, relevant team in the future, they need some of these young guys to be good, right? He was their high pick last year. He looked the part. Just big, strong dude. If you're going to be big and strong and not so athletic, you better be super skilled. But he actually had some athleticism that he showed with some really good skills. So I was really happy to see what he did. That he'll be a fun guy to watch. It'd be great for him to have a breakout season. Great for Detroit.
I love stories like this. This is DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, people are talking about Atlanta a ton with Trae Young, and now they've got Bogdanovich, and they signed Gallinari. But DeAndre Hunter is their second-year player, I think, from Virginia, and he looked good. He looked like he knew what he was doing. He shot well. We don't know how often these guys are going to do it, but he looked like he knew what he was doing. Bilal was talking about Reddish. I did not watch Reddish. I only watched Hunter. Reddish people were very high on the end of last year, and he was probably a higher ranked player. But he was super highly ranked going into the season a year ago at Duke. I think he went to Duke. Atlanta, if Gallinari can play, Trae Young can play, Bogdanovich can play. If these young guys can start showing some things, man, they're going to be the East is pretty stacked up top. They're going to compete for that.
How tall is DeAndre Hunter?
6'7", 6'8". He's not small. Yeah. Maybe 6'6", but I think he's 6'7", 6'8".
So what's his position?
He's a forward. Like, he's a small forward. You could play him. wings are wings. He's a wing, basically. He's a wing. I think he'll play some 4 from small ball 4. He's long. He's not very strong yet, but he's a wing.
I guess it's the time for me to force you to talk about the Blazers for a second with Harry Giles.
Well, I've been talking this whole time. My voice is hoarse. Tell me what you thought of Harry Giles.
I wrote a little story. We're going to publish it as soon as the show's over. It's not like nothing matters from 2 preseason games, but for the record, I tallied it up in 50. So let's talk about Harry Giles for 1 second. He was like the number 1 ranked player in the country when he was 14 or 15, and then he, I think I'm right saying that there are 6 ligaments between your 2 knees combined, and he has severed or had surgery on 4 of them between his 2 knees. Oh, there you go. Balls is 8. Are there 3 big ligaments? I forget this. I go through this every now and again, and someone who knows what they're talking about corrects me.
Does he have no ACLs? I didn't know that.
No. He tore ACL, MCL, LCL in 1 knee, and then he recovered. This is all in high school.
Right.
And he tore ACL in the other knee, and then he recovered, and then he's had other Dwan Blair. Anyway.
I trained Dwan Blair. That's the guy that had no ACLs. That's right.
Yeah. So and then Harry Giles missed his entire rookie year. He was drafted in 2017. Now he had 2 more years in Sacramento, during which he played roughly half of a James Harden season's worth of minutes over the 2 years combined. He hasn't played very much. He hasn't caught on. Blazers signed him to a minimum deal in the offseason, which makes no headlines. He's no longer the top prospect in his class by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. He could be in Europe in a year for sure.
And we don't even really know if he has a body that's NBA ready, right? And so this is where preseason mattered. And ordinarily he'd have summer league and 8 preseason games, right, to sort of show the world. And if he could just play well, then he can get a real job that pays real bills. Now that he's a decade into struggling to get to this point to like prove himself as a real NBA player. And then the story ends with him like pounding his chest and doing a little dance as his teammates are just erupting in laughter because he had over the 2 games, 51 minutes and 32 seconds. He had 37 points on 24 shots, 27 rebounds. He shot 80% from the line. He had 5 steals, 4 assists, 3 blocks, one of which was incredible. He made one of his 2 threes. He dunked, I think, 5, 6, or 7 times, often after steals. Harry Giles is back. He's able to move. His body is NBA ready. We can see about how that all works in the regular season against competition that isn't the undermanned Sacramento Kings. But it was exciting. It was mostly just from a human perspective, exciting to see this guy who has had to use some real grit just to get on the court to do his stuff.
When he was a rookie, I watched a lot of his games, and I loved him. I thought he was the quickest guy in the league at his position, literally the quickest guy in his league. His first step was Iverson-like for that size. It was amazing. And then they put him in a position where he was playing some pinch post stuff and he was passing the ball. And I thought, it wasn't just me. People were writing about his passing ability. And I thought, oh man, they're going to put him and Bagley together and just be dynamic. But it's the Kings. They fuck everything up. So I was to say, I don't know if he can think the game. We'll have to find out, but it's an athletic game and he has it, right? It's amazing what he's responded from, what he's recovered from. That is a team that could use some athleticism inside.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to screen share for a second, just for fun. So here's how it goes in the mind of a fan, right? You're like, oh, I'm including myself here. Great. The Blazers, the team I support, I'm excited. They added another player. They'll find him minutes. It'll work out. I'm like, well, will it though? Like, let me just kind of pretend that I'm screen sharing now, everyone. I'm probably gonna screw everything up. Okay, you're gonna look at my desktop for a second, and then we're gonna look at read my emails.
Yeah, you did a spreadsheet of all the players. Yeah.
Okay, so this is how many minutes there are. Can everybody see my screen? Okay.
I can't. I don't see it.
You don't. Okay, perfect. Super professional. Why is that not working? There we go.
Super professional.
Super professional. Are you seeing it now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me make this big. Okay, so 1,280 minutes is how many minutes there are in a 72-game season without overtimes. I just trying it out. So I'll share this whole spreadsheet, but like this is an absurd low number of minutes for Damian Lillard to play, 2,000.
Right, it means he's only playing 27 a game, which is
ridiculous.
Crazy talk. Yeah.
So my point here is every single player in here is playing dramatically less than they want. For instance, Anthony Simons played triple this number of minutes last season.
Did he really?
Yeah. So even with that, even with this total, the one thing I haven't done is injured anybody in the simulation here. But the point is, I don't know how you do this. If Harry Giles Jr. is going to play decent minutes, here I have him playing the least he's ever played in his career, except for his rookie year when he didn't play at all. This is hard. This is hard. It's hard to be an NBA player. Harry Giles can be super good, and then the only way he plays is if, like, you know, Zach Collins doesn't play, Robert Covington doesn't play, and his Cantor doesn't play, Carmelo Anthony doesn't play, right? Like, I don't know. You tell me how that goes.
No, that's exactly right. So either someone's gonna get hurt, which happens all the time. I've seen situations where a player is not playing very much. The guy in front of him gets hurt just for a week or even 3 games, 2 games. And then the guy steps in and does well and never loses his spot, right? That happens. So it could happen here where Zach Collins, when he finally comes back, when is he coming back?
Next month.
January. Okay. So until then, it's possible that Giles plays some, right? At the 4 more than the 5.
I mean, well, okay, maybe, but still, like, also waiting for the same minutes. Carmelo, Robert Covington, like Rodney Hood, Enes Kanter, like they have. Yeah. Kanter is the first guy I looked at as, okay, what are you going to do here? You're going to play Kanter? I think it's a mistake. Yeah.
If I was in charge, I know what Enes Kanter is. I can say Enes. How do I say his name?
Enes, yeah.
Enes, I'll see you in February.
Yeah.
We're going to play this young guy through January, the end of January, and see where we're at. And Ennis should be just fine with that. We know what he is. We don't know what Giles is. So this is the experiment you have to do. And same as Carmelo. I would say the same thing to Carmelo. Is we know what you can do. It is a given at best.
The worst part of the weekend for me as a Blazer fan was right what you just said, which was like just reading body language, which is a dangerous thing to do through the TV. But there was a moment where Carmelo drove me crazy.
What happened?
Okay, so down at the bottom here is CJ Ellerbee, 2nd round pick from Washington State.
Yep.
This math is absolutely brutal. Like his likelihood of touching the ball after this week is like almost nil. So I don't know. CJ Ellerbee looks like a fine player, nice guy. They like him, cool. But these games are his chance to, like, you know, catch a ball in the corner, make a quick decision, you know, drive or shoot, make a pass, whatever. Well, he gets maybe 6 catches to show what he can do, right, in this game. And Carmelo had started fairly hot, and Dame drives up, fires a ball left corner, and here's CJ Ellerbee with like the royal jelly, right, the magic gold that he might catch on an NBA team with, and he catches it. And Carmelo had recently scored. I don't even think the ball hit CJ Ellerbee's hands before Carmelo had both hands like, give me the ball! Like right there. Carmelo wasn't even open. And so CJ's like, okay. And then Carmelo catches it, takes a contested long shot and misses it. I'm like, Carmelo! And then their second game, by halftime, everyone played short minutes, but like Carmelo had taken 3 times as many shots as Dame. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, this is where leadership has come in. Like, you know what you're going to get with Carmelo. You got to try other guys now. If you want to increase the elasticity of your team, then you've got to, because Carmelo is a given, right? Let's get Gerard's views on
we're
Carmelo.
Here, I'll stop screen share.
On his fellow New Yorker. Because I'm not sure they'll be able to work that out. Too bad for Harry Giles.
I think you have to play Carmelo. She's gonna.
You don't have to. They will.
Yeah.
Hey, Gerard.
Hey guys.
How's it going, man?
What'd you see? Hey, so we didn't get to Durant and Curry and John Wall, who all looked good, physically good. What'd you see from the weekend?
Yeah. So I saw John Wall first, and at first play of the game, right, steal, then the drive, I was like, oh, he's got a little bit of spring to his step. And then I was like, well, how much of that is adrenaline versus like, know, what the real thing's going to be? And I think for him and Katie and all these guys, it's not so much what we saw first game, more or less, all right, when they're sore tomorrow, and then it's how are they going to look repeatedly going forward. But all encouraging signs in the beginning. Knicks, I did like what I saw, as you did, from Obi Toppin. Look, they're going to be a terrible team, like, just because that's just who they are. But keep doing that so that you go in the lottery. This draft's going to be really good next year. Like, hopefully Leon and everybody has a plan, and they're going to follow it, and the Knicks will be good again in the future. Maybe we'll see. Brooklyn in particular. I mean, we know this. Like, offensively, they're going to be a nightmare. Like, good luck. Like, and LeVert didn't even play. Defensively is where I'm concerned about that team, right? Like, they may score 130 a game, but they may give up 125. So
that'd be fine. That'd be okay. The problem is if they score 130 and give up 132. That'd be the problem.
Which could very well happen with that squad, right?
But Durant, the few times, I mean, he had no interest in playing defense because I don't think Hachimura bully balls him if Durant doesn't want to be bully balled. But he could be a good defensive player, right? We know that.
I mean, his length alone is something that, like, it's just a problem, right? Like, if he just sticks his long wingspan up, it's like, all right, well,
he really is a joke. It's so unfair. If there was an interplanetary game of competition of one-on-one, and part of the deal was just trying to intimidate your opponent, like, we would send that cat because his skills are ridiculous for a guy that tall. My God.
And that's the thing that's what I enjoy about his game so much. And, like, that is why that type of player, as you know, that is like the archetype of find Gerard's basketball love. It's players who are tall, lanky, you can shoot and get well. Like, that's who, right? That's why I love Michael Porter Jr. so much. And, like, players who are just super tall and skilled, I'm like, yeah, this is great.
What did you think? What did you think?
Like players who beat those guys up, Gerard.
What did you think of Michael Porter Jr., Gerard?
He didn't shoot it well the other night.
Fine.
Which whatever. Yeah, that'll be fine. The big thing for him, as you know, Coach, is getting a clue on the other end of the floor, right? Like,
no, getting a clue anywhere. No, he's a very skilled guy, but absent that one thing, tall, long, athletic, I just don't think he has a clue when he plays. But you can learn that. Like, we talked about learning how to play. He doesn't know how to play yet. He doesn't.
No. And I think for Denver, look, this is a team that went to the conference finals last year, right?
Yeah.
So if their thing is, it wasn't a bubble mirage, we're actually good.
Yeah.
He's going to have to speed up that learning curve of what the hell he's doing. Because, again, if you just have the ball in your hand, I know you know what to do when you have the ball in your hand. But when you don't, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. When I'm watching tape, that's what you just said, Gerard, is something I literally say, what are you doing? Like, if I could record myself for the player, it'd be like, what are you thinking about? What do you see there? This is what coaches do. I had a player this weekend, I was breaking tape down for one of his games, and he had the ball in the wing with like 10 seconds on the clock. He had a guy guarding him. He had a man like a just screened for him. He slipped on the right side of the floor. He's on the right wing, and he had a guy in the corner being guarded. And he decided to drive right. Like, there's 3 bad guys there. So I wrote to him in capital letters, we avoid the crowd. Like, if this part isn't rocket science, I don't know what they're thinking. My sons heard me say more than anyone, what were you thinking? Like, what could you believe?
I wasn't.
Gerard, can you narrate some video for us?
Sure. Yeah, so that's me and Hazel out near right by our apartment on the Hudson River there. She's just getting all involved in things.
She's a media friendly dog. Like, she looks good.
She's extremely media friendly. Yeah, we did a little AccuWeather thing, where it's like dog owners and their pets during the pandemic. What do we do? And there's a study that came out, and it's not like a lot of information hasn't been done with it yet, but it's like people own dogs, you have a higher likelihood of catching COVID, right? And so it's this idea of, because as we know, our dogs put their paws and faces literally in every goddamn thing that's outside. And so what I was saying to the journalist was, look, even before the pandemic, she gets fully wiped down head to toe every time she comes back in the house. So it doesn't matter, like, pandemic or not. Like we always do that. So it's always been something that we obviously continue now more during.
The best part is my coming. Wait, this is a really cute
The
shot.
virus by touching contaminated surfaces in public and bringing germs into their owners' homes. This possibility has owners taking extra care to practice good hygiene.
When we go outside and we come back in, everything gets wiped down. Her paws, her face, everything, with wipes that have like germ killing stuff on them that's dog friendly, no matter what, because she's a dog. She puts her face and her paws into and on everything.
There is no conclusive research that shows.
Oh yeah, she's pretty good. She knows how to like smile for the camera. You know, it's interesting because she's very protective, right, of us. So it's like when new people are around, we're always like, we're not sure. But Dexter, who is a friend of mine who I know who's doing the AccuWeather thing, she was good with him. So she's a cute vector. You need dogs in your house, Judy. Wait till I tell your kids and your kids.
Oh yeah, you really made it sound appetizing, Gerard. Wipe down head to paw every time you go out.
Yeah, I want to be clear. We're terrible dog owners, I guess. Like our dog is happy and everything, but I have not wiped that dog off one time.
it's only because like you can't see, like she gets on the bed and I'm like, all right, like if you're gonna be on these things where I'm on regularly, like I need you to be like somewhat clean.
And you guys missed the part where Gerard described they have layers of coats for the dog depending on the weather. We have one coat for our dog, and I basically protest it because it's a big job being a dog parent, and we have kids and stuff, and you just have to be lower maintenance. I'm sorry.
We don't have children, right? So therefore, this is our child. So this is where she has like her very layered coats, her raincoat, her soft shell, her heavy shell, like all the various things. Snowstorm comes this week, so we gotta deal with booties and stuff.
You guys have to deal with snow next week.
This week, yeah, Wednesday apparently.
Big time, yeah, big time.
Wow. I may go swimming. Yeah, we're gonna have 70s. I think today is supposed to be 70s.
Gerard, do you think we should go swimming this week? Does that sound good?
Oh yeah, the polar plunge. Sure, let's just jump right in that ice cold water.
So Gerard, I saw you wear. I know we have to go into 2 minutes. So do you always wear a mask when you walk her?
Oh,
I know you were being interviewed for the show, but do you have to wear a mask outdoors up there?
I always wear a mask outdoors. When I do my runs or whatever in the morning, I have a mask on. Like I have a different one for running. It's like one of those like cloth things that pull away over. But yeah, I have masks on always outside, no matter what I'm doing.
I can't decide the ethics of this, but we don't live in New York City, and I can walk the dog, and I can guarantee that I won't be on the same side of the same street with anyone on the block,
right,
at any time in the walk.
Which I can never guarantee.
That's why you have to wear it.
Yeah. So I always have the mask, but at times I'll be like, "There's no one within a half mile of me."
In the 1 minute, is the Electoral College voting today?
Is the what?
Electoral College.
Yeah.
Do we expect anything's going to happen?
I saw a smart political reporter saying that by 5 p.m. Eastern, which is I guess when California certifies its votes, it'll be all done.
Well, that part will be done anyway.
No. The tally will be sufficient that it's all
right. The kleptocrats won't stop kleptocrating, but the other part will be done.
Their game is looking pretty weak. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it always has been.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy.
Are we doing Gerard's show on Wednesday, Henry?
Oh, we're doing some show planning during the show right now.
Yeah. I want to tease our viewers.
Gerard, if you're available to do Fries with Gerard on Wednesday, it might be good for some scheduling purposes this week, if that's okay.
Sure, yeah. Let's do my show on Wednesday.
We'll get into this. All right. So Miami opens up tonight. Mm-hmm. Anyone else not open up?
I will say, Coach, the one thing about Miami that worries me with the Lakers, that short ass layoff they've had, and with the way Miami likes to grind and be physical and do their thing, that is the only thing that concerns me about them. It's a big thing, but that concerns me about them.
They're lucky to have a good part of their core team are really young. Yeah. Adebayo, Nunn, Hero, and Duncan Robinson is not so young, but he hasn't played NBA for 1 year or so. So that'll help a little bit. Yeah, Dragic won't play much.
Yeah. All right. Legal's going to tell us it's time to end the show. It's been good. We're back on Wednesday. Thank you, everybody.
Be safe, everyone.